Welcome to Inside Raceland Football, live on Kool TV. Over the next hour, James Collier will visit with Raceland Rams head coach Mike Salmons and players to discuss the 2025 Rams season in their quest toward another return trip to Kroger Field. Now, here's your host of Inside Raceland Football, the voice of the Rams, James Collier.
And welcome inside Raceland Football here from Raceland Christian Church tonight, the big community dinner. That it's one of the things when you have this coach, that means some good things have been happening this season. And for you guys, again, it's the fourth consecutive trip down to Kroger Field and a state championship.
Yeah, so you start out when you have Thanksgiving dinner together or spend time together on Thanksgiving, it's pretty special. When you can take it one more week, you know you made it to the end. And so this is an outstanding event. I think every year this event has kind of continued to grow, and but outpouring support from the community. You feed this many people in this amount of space, it takes a lot of people to pull that off. And so, like I always say about Raceland, we don't have a lot of infrastructure. There's not a lot here, but there's a lot of people who care, and you see that tonight.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, that was so grateful for Raceland Christian Church to provide the area, not just one building, but two buildings tonight to house everybody and get everybody fed. And we've got several people that are still hanging around and so forth, but let's welcome in the dance coach team of Natalie Pence. And it takes an army to make all of this happen. And for you're ingrained in Raceland, obviously. What's it like for you for your team, again, to be part of everything that goes into making this trip to Kroger Field again?
Well, as the coach of the dance team, we're very fortunate that we are able to offer our girls and our student athletes at Raceland an opportunity for them to showcase their talents that they train with outside of their school with them. And we're very fortunate and blessed to be at Raceland to not only follow such wonderful teams through basketball season, football season, any season, but we're also very fortunate that we have the support of our administrators and our school system to always have us involved with every activity.
And Coach, that's something when we look at the way Raceland is, the infrastructure, everybody is involved with everything that goes on. And I mean, it's a community event. There's nobody going to be left in town Friday morning.
No, I think it's funny you say that. One of the interviews asked me somewhere this week, some guy said, so would Friday be a good day to rob your house in Raceland? And I said, yeah, and the door will be open. That's kind of how this town operates. Talking about like the dance team, really, as I become a head coach, dance team, I don't know, Miss Natalie, what was the year that we started dance?
It's been a while.
We're probably a decade deep.
We're probably at least 10 to 12 years.
Yeah, and so, over time, just to see the way not only the dance team, but other programs have grown, like our cheer program, outstanding numbers and what they've went through over the past decade. And you see the band. We had to somehow come up with 2 buses for the band to get to Kroger Field on Friday. So that's for the band and of course, their instruments. And so next thing you know, we got 4 or 5 buses head west. Well, we don't even run 5 buses in the morning. We run in the morning for school. We'll run 4 buses, plus 1 special bus, and that's all we have. And so, just to see when the community really gets, the school is the centerpiece. That's really all we have. Like I told someone in an interview this week, another interview, we don't have economic growth here. That's not why people come here. Like, we're not a booming economic center. It doesn't work that way. But when people throw down an anchor, they don't leave, and that's kind of what we have here. These blue collar people, and they really rally around the heartbeat of the school. And there's no doubt, every kid is involved in multiple avenues. Just like the football team, for example. You got a GSP member. 2 of the last 3 years had a GSP member. You got some kids will barely walk across stage, but you also have valedictorians. You got dance team members who, dance competitively. You got cheerleading members who also play volleyball, or maybe they play basketball, or maybe they play softball. All these kids who do all these extracurriculars. And at a place at Raceland, you can do it all. And I think that's really what makes it special.
Natalie, when you look at your team with that way coaches, you can do a little bit of everything here because of the way this school is built and the infrastructure, the way that it's set up. How special is that for you as a coach to have girls that they are involved within the school as a whole, not just one individual program?
I think with me personally, it's even more special and more important. I hate to admit I wasn't a graduate of Raceland. Kind of married into the family, I would think so.
We adopted her.
Okay.
She's part of us.
But having a husband that graduated from Raceland, a very proud mother of a son who graduated from Raceland, Kirk Pence, this is home. That's right. And for me. And I felt welcomed in as a parent when Kirk started school here at Raceland, and again felt open to come in and volunteer as a parent in classes. Was very welcomed with the administrators to start a dance team program because that's my heart and what I love to do. And again, going back to Coach Salmons here, who's a great friend, we've now turned this first week of December into state championship week. Yeah. It started out as Nutcracker week for several years. And so with that being said, our Nutcracker schedule is now even set around Football Friday of being at Kroger Field on Friday.
And Coach, it's something we've talked about. I said, we've created a tradition here at Raceland, but that tradition comes earned. And it's the expectation to play on that first Friday in December. That means you're playing for a state championship game. And it's something that you kind of have to pinch yourself each year whenever you do this over and over. 4 consecutive years you're headed to Kroger.
Yeah, it's certainly an involvement in our program. With the Nutcracker, the girls, they go 2 days, they get a day off and go 2 more, helps them out, But, really just a blessing to be able to be a part of that and watch our program grow. Obviously, you never take this for granted. I think that's one thing I've said multiple times. Sometimes people, I think this is normal, and I get a couple calls today from coaches around the state at very big time programs, and they're like, "Hey man, make sure you enjoy this." Like, one time our program was in like 6 straight semifinals, and we haven't been back for a decade. Like that's a big deal. And so, he said, I was in your shoes at one time, and I felt like this was normal. It's not normal. Please know that. And I think sometimes people get misaligned and think that it's a given, and it's definitely not a given. It's definitely earned, and our kids have done it multiple ways over the past 4 years. Some teams we've had have been uber talented. Some teams we've had have very much, been a collective of the parts, and that would probably be the way I would summarize this team. We have some outstanding players, no doubt about it, but we are very much a sum of the parts. We don't have a 2,000-yard rusher. We don't have a 2,000-yard passer. We don't have a 100 tackle guy that I'm aware of. We just have a bunch of guys who don't care about any of that other than the one stat that matters, and that's probably what makes it the most enjoyable from the coaching standpoint.
Natalie, for you, getting a chance to take multiple teams to Kroger Field and being a part of the events in Lexington, how special is that for a team? Because, again, you've got young ladies from all different age groups, from middle school all the way up to the high school level.
As we talk about and you hear repeated several times, Raceland is a special place because we allow our students to be involved in so many different activities. It's never been with dance team, and I think cheer is the same way. We want to be all inclusive with everyone. So it's just more opportunities to give these kids in our Raceland area, our small town, a chance to see big things and to know that their dreams are always achievable with hard work.
And Coach, that's something when they get to the big stage there in Lexington, cheer, dance, band, it's all on spectacle of what this school brings to the table as a small little school that, again, you've brought up so many times, that has found a way to survive consolidation, which we see so much throughout the state.
Yeah, 100 years of football, right? This is our 100th season, and somehow I was speaking to someone today, Frakes from the Courier Journal, he called me, and he said, well, how many high schools are in your county? And I said, well, there's actually 3 school systems in our county. And he was asking me, are those your rivals and so on and so forth, and we were talking about that. And I said, in the day and age where some of these large counties have a county school, whatever central, whatever it may be, we're over here in Eastern Kentucky where we get no economic growth, and we got 3 schools that just refuse to give up the rope. And that's really what it's about in our community. People really pulling together. And one thing, I was looking at the dance team out here to my left. Our starting quarterback on Friday, his sister's on the dance team. And one of our junior dancers down there, her brother's on the team, twin brother. One of our dancers in the middle school down there has a brother who's a freshman for us and has an older brother who started for us in 2 state finals. And so when you talk about community and home, one of the other dancers' sisters down there, they have a cousin who's on the team. That's how it's so intertwined. So many groups have so many connected pieces. And I think that's really where all the support comes from. And people want to see everybody succeed. And it's not always easy, okay? There's a tug and a pull at times, and everyone has some ownership, and obviously everybody wants to feel like they're the most important. And really, at the end of the day, I think probably what our school does better than anything is we make sure that we understand the kids are the most important, and when they get the most opportunities they can provide, and that's what really makes it unique for us.
Natalie, what Coach talked about, you've got all of those pieces that are connected to the football team. That's the glue that brings everything together.
Absolutely. I believe the other thing that brings us together is just our love and our respect and our pride for Raceland. We have the most pride, I think, of a lot of places that I've been to. Everyone is super proud to wear the orange and black every day, just not on Friday at Orange and Black Day. We are really proud of where we came from because we put out good products. I believe that too.
It's
we
funny,
put out good products.
they give people give Coach a hard time at school. They'll say, what are you wearing tomorrow, Coach? He goes, I've only got orange and black. It's the only two colors I own. So I mean, it's if you walked in a different color, you'd probably throw somebody for a loop.
Yeah, so some lady was in one of our parents was over the night having dinner, and of course she had on a shirt that wasn't proper color, and then I said something to her, and she knew it was coming, and we were laughing, and she said, well, do they ever give you a hard time for wearing the wrong color? I said, I don't wear the wrong color. That's not in my wardrobe, and my wife's out there, she can attest to that, and it's just really special when, again, we talk about consolidation. You talk about financial backing. That's what leads to consolidation. Let's just be transparent. Is money. People consolidate because they need money. And for our people in our community, it's no secret we have a high tax base, very high taxes. For our people in our community to say, look, this is important to me. When I drive down the highway, I see that school, I see that campus, and I know where my money goes, where my investment is. We want to keep that going. 1926 in football, 1928 the first graduating class. And like I saw this week, I think in Christian County, Hopkinsville, they're closing a school or consolidating. I think it's been like 125 years. So it's a real thing. Like consolidation is a real thing. And as you go up and down 23, the further you go south, you get more of it. If you go west of Bowling Green, it's rampant. But these people here threw down an acre, and they just refuse to let go of the rope. And that's what brings us to work every day, to keep serving and being a really proud member, of that community.
Natalie, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.
Enjoy the time down at Kroger Field.
We will.
It's going to be a different view, too. We're on the home side this time,
Exactly.
So a little bit of different look this year when we go down there.
Have that shade on the home side this year.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
good.
But I don't know if we want that shade. It's going to be a little cold.
Well, that's why I said we usually, with the last couple of years, we've had that sun a little bit on us. But yeah, the shade's going to keep us a little bit cooler this year.
I've got a snow dance going on, too. So
well, you can share with dancing.
I'm trying to get a little snow going.
Okay.
So we'll see what
Well,
we
I
do.
think maybe the better way to say that is, we're flipping our luck, right?
That's right.
We've been down there 3 years in a
Flipping the
row,
luck to the other side.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
just glad to be there.
Absolutely.
No matter where they put us at.
All right, we're going to step out for a break. We'll come back and continue our coverage. We got highlights from last week. We got some other people we're going to bring in and talk with as we get you ready for Friday, high noon at Kroger Field. That's as we continue here on Inside Raceland Football on Kool TV.
Good morning, Isabella.
Hi, David.
Back for your morning routine?
Clark's Refresh Rewards program is something you'll flip for.
Hey, Isabella.
Hi, Annabelle.
Donut?
Don't forget the sprinkles.
Cream?
And sugar.
Download our app today and enjoy all of the rewards. No flipping required.
Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
At First National Bank, we strive to make every person that walks through our doors feel like family, because to us, you are. For over 120 years, we have lived in and served the families of Kentucky with genuine care through the good times and the bad. Come and see the difference banking with family can truly make for you at any of our 7 locations, or visit our website at www.fnbgrayson.com. First National Bank, member FDIC.
Fall fishing season is just around the corner, and Borders Sporting Goods is your fishing headquarters for rods and reels from G. Loomis, St. Croix, Fenwick, Lewis, Shimano, Daiwa, and Abu Garcia. No matter the species of fish you are targeting, Borders has the perfect setup to make your next trip on the water a success. Borders has baits in every size and style, with a wide selection of tackle from Berkley, Strike King, Soon, Z-Man, Bandit, and many more. Before hitting the water for your next fishing trip, stop by and stock up at Borders Sporting Goods, US 60 West in Ashland.
Since 1992, DSI has been serving their customers with quality products and affordable prices for 33 years. DSI offers a wide variety of gear for your favorite team and also offers wholesale and retail screen printing, embroidery, vinyl, and direct-to-film applications. DSI also welcomes your custom design for your team, business, or anything you may need. Have a vision? Let DSI's custom design team make that vision a reality. For over 30 years, DSI has been the trusted name for quality products and an affordable price. Check them out at 511 Greenup Avenue in Raceland or online at supertees.com.
At Members Choice Credit Union, we believe that strong communities begin with strong partnerships, and that starts with trust. Since 1932, we've proudly served the families and businesses of this region because your goals matter, your family matters, and your future should be built on a foundation you can count on and trust. Members Choice Credit Union, your money, your future, your choice.
Primary Plus is celebrating 40 years of its mission of quality, advanced, affordable health care. With over 11 primary care locations throughout the region, Primary Plus believes in our communities and our patients. The Primary Plus name means primary care plus so much more, offering extended services such as women's health, pediatrics, dental, counseling, diabetes management, infusion services, and on-site pharmacy that offers free delivery. Primary Plus believes in connecting health care for you and your family and is always welcoming new patients. Learn more at primaryplus.net.
I'm April Perry, the CEO of Kentucky Farmers Bank. On average, our employees have been with Kentucky Farmers Bank for over 10 years, and that is important to you and us. We want you to know who you are dealing with. Whether you are financing a new home, buying a car, or remodeling your kitchen, Kentucky Farmers Bank is the better bank for all your needs.
Kentucky Farmers Bank, the better bank for all your financial needs since 1931. Located in Ashland, Summit, and Catlettsburg. KentuckyFarmersBank.com. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Looking for the latest archery gear? Check out Borders Sporting Goods for your best selection of Hoyt and Matthews bows, as well as 10-point crossbows with a full selection of accessories for all your hunting needs. Borders also offers a full selection of shotguns and rifles with plenty of ammunition and reload supplies, along with a full selection of benchmark and case knives. Borders is your headquarters for the largest selection of Liberty gun safes in the area, no matter how big or small you need to keep your firearms safe. Before your next hunting excursion, stop by and stock up at Borders Sporting Goods, US 60 West in Ashland. When you are hungry and on the go, stop by the Rams Dairy Bar for your next meal. Rams Dairy Bar offers mouth-watering cheeseburgers and hot dogs made any way you like them, with plenty of sides to choose from. Don't forget to grab an ice cream cone to go or a hand-dipped milkshake with a variety of flavors. Rams Dairy Bar also offers a full selection of flavored coffees to get your day moving in the right direction. The next time you're hungry and don't know where to go, swing by the Rams Dairy Bar, proud supporters of Raceland Athletics for over 25 years.
And we're back on Inside Raceland Football, coming to you live tonight from Raceland Christian Church. Big thanks to Jason Likens and his entire staff here tonight for setting everything up, providing the food, taking care of not just the football team, the entire community, Coach.
Yeah, this is first class. We've done this a couple of times, and every year it's kind of been overflowing, and they changed their game plan. So good for them. They kind of had food rolling in both places and kind of had us over here and had it set up. Really, it was nice that, and this is really what community is about. It's about family spending time together. And families got to have dinner together with their players. Very important, very special moment for those people. And particularly, on Friday we got 12 seniors. And so we know now this is their last game. And so there's some finality there. I think a few of them have some potential to move on and play college football if they so choose. But the camaraderie you have in high school football locker rooms is never replicated. I've been there. I played college football. Special moments, sure, but it's not the same. It's not the same when you play for your hometown, your community, with the people you know in your whole life. And so for those guys to be able to share tonight with their family and their parents or their grandparents or their guardians, really heartfelt thank you to Raceland Christian Church and their leadership here. I think it's special too. Jason, of course, he has a kid on the team. I see Coach Morris back there. I think he's a deacon or elder, whatever they're maybe called in this church, and longtime Raceland football coach. I saw Greg Denton back there, his son Brett Denton on the 2008 team. I don't know where he falls in all-time greatest, but it's way at the top, if not the top.
I will tell you right now, I put his name in the record book a lot as I've been building this year, so I know that name very well.
I had the pleasure to coach Brett for 2 years, and that was when I first came here. It's crazy how 2 decades later. But his son was an outstanding player. His daughter was an outstanding athlete for us too. And you see all these people that are just tied to the team and the community in some way. I see some the Akers family out there, and their granddaughter is part of the cheer squad. But it's just like she's a football player, and so everybody's connected. And that's really what pulls off events like this and really makes them unique. And when you get everybody together at the same time, same place, and share a common vision, these are the type of things that happen.
You talk about the seniors, and one of the things you're big about, you guys put out the messages, 2 sleeps to go, 1 sleep to go. Those sleeps are getting to that final chapter that they know they're going to put a bow on this chapter one way or the other. And for those seniors, it's a chapter that's been building for 4 years.
Yeah, what a special run for them, right? And I think I may have spoke about this in some of the, we've talked so much. It's funny, in the locker room, there's different things written on the board throughout the year, some appropriate, some inappropriate, and it always gets erased. Things always get erased, and that's fine. That's how it's supposed to be. But there's been something on the board since, I don't know when it went on the board. It had to be in August, and it simply says legacy, and below it simply says, how do you want to be remembered? And I don't know how that dry erase marker has withstood teenage boys 50-plus deep for 4 months. But it has. It hasn't been erased, touched, marked over, X's and O's over it or nothing. And I think those seniors, those 12 guys over there in row one, they want to leave a legacy that's unmatched. They've certainly left some legacy, one that's going to be looked back upon that elevated the program. 4 consecutive state finals, obviously never been done. I don't know. You can look at history of most programs that doesn't get done. There's probably a select few. And now they want to make sure the legacy ends with the gold, and for the first time. And I think that's what they've been hungered by and drawn through the entire process. Not really, we never talked about winning this game or winning that game. It's always been talking about, let's just put the inputs in, let the outputs fall where they may, and we know where we want to go. And I think that's really what they rallied around, and really proud of those guys as a collective group. They're really powerful, and I think that shows.
All right, let's dig into last week's highlights as we break things down. And it was a very efficient first half, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing that you guys did very well there in that first half, you got some running from your quarterback, and Jake Waller made a huge scramble to set you guys up in that first touchdown that you guys got, and then used his feet to set up that touchdown throw to Jonah for a 32-yarder. And it was just something that we've not seen a lot of him this year. Mm-hmm. But I kind of saw an article this week you talked about it, and you were like, no, yes. And it's like, he is so heady with the way that he runs. He has so much IQ on the field. He's an extension of the coaching staff.
Yeah, he really is. Jake's super composed, super intelligent. This is the scramble here. And one thing about Jake that, people may not necessarily understand is he actually runs really well. Some of the year he hasn't ran, somewhat by design. I think I said somewhere, look, you got to have your quarterback upright. You got to be able to get the dance healthy. Now, we're to the dance, and we're healthy, so, everything goes out the door now. But, yeah, Jake's been outstanding in the way he leads our team and, really, really explosive first drive there and try to get the momentum on our side. But you see here Pikeville coming out with a nice scheme. They, we played each other so much. We kind of know what each other believes in and what we're trying to do. And obviously, they knew that we had some concern about their quarterback and his feed, and they knew that they were going to get some one-on-one matchups, and they really tried to take advantage of them. And for the most part, our guys were outstanding one-on-one matchups. Our guys in the secondary that really made plays on the ball. I'll talk about all the time about the best pass coverage is the pass rush. We had a couple sacks. We had a couple times where you got him thrown off target. You get a couple drops, and next thing you know, you're winning the money down battle. That's really what leads to winning. Those are the inputs that determine the output, and our guys really was honed in last Friday.
One of the things I thought was very crucial with the way that you guys were getting the pass rush, you were forcing him to speed his clock up, and a lot of times he wasn't throwing off that back foot. It was quickly going off that front foot. You off balance, you would see some throws underneath that just wasn't where they wanted to be. But on the back side of it, you had your safeties that were really locked down well, and what a game that you got from Bryson Rousey.
Yeah, so we always talk about, trying to get those guys off schedule. And it's the same thing for our quarterback with Jake. When things get off schedule, it becomes a real issue. You want to try to make sure you stay on schedule and try to be on time with your throws because, unfortunately, those can lead to the negative plays offensively and obviously the big plays for the defense. Bryson and Max both out there on the edge last week. It seemed like maybe Bryce was a little bit more in the action. I know right before halftime when they got down there, they tried to throw a go ball over at Max, I do believe, way down in the corner by the Ram faithful. Over here, I guess. And now it's on the other end.
On the other end.
On the other end, yeah. And so, those guys made great plays on the ball. Broke the plays up, really rallied. Even at times early on when we were trying to make adjustments and they completed the balls, I thought our guys tackled really well in space. We were really sure tacklers, and we had a lot of guys rallying to the ball. You see a lot of orange hats and black jerseys getting there. And that's really what it takes when you play teams that are explosive, like Pikeville, and just like we're going to see, in 2 nights, teams that can explode and really make big plays on you to really swing the momentum of the game, is you got to really rally to the ball.
14-0, you guys take the lead. You get a field goal here as Jake puts this one through and puts you up 17-0. What did you like about where you were going in, especially considering the fact Pikeville mounted a drive, you guys stood tall, you forced them to a field goal at 17-3 going in, but they had the football coming out, and you guys made a big stand coming out of the locker room.
Yeah, 14-0 there. Thought, very easily could have been 21. Also felt like the way the flow of the game was going at that time, getting some type of a 3-possession lead was very, very important. So we thought the field goal was the right play call. I had a chance before halftime to get a stop. You can see here, they're like 4 minutes to go in the half. They get the ball. We end up getting them, Justice Kid there gets a couple nice runs. But we end up getting him in 4th and 10 and can't get off the field. He actually extends the play with his feet. We can't get to him on time, and he makes a big completion. But what a great job from our defense from there. This is 3rd down play, if I remember right. Get a sack. Then we get a 4th down stop or a 4th down play. We just can't get a stop. But then they get down inside the orange zone there, inside the 10-yard line. Here's the play that he steps up, steps out, scrambles right, throwing off his feet, directing traffic, throws between 3 white jerseys and 4 black jerseys, and somehow the kid catches the ball. And that's what players do. It's all about making plays. And I use the line to our team all the time. This is a big-time game. You want to be a big-time player, you got to make big-time plays in big-time games, and that's really what it's about. And our guys really stepped up there and made big plays down inside the orange zone and held them to the field goal, which I thought was a very, very big play in the game.
How much do you feel like that the momentum that you kind of took away from him by forcing him to the short field goal and then getting the again, you guys didn't put any more points up the rest of the ball game, but it never felt like that the game was out of reach for you guys of what you wanted to do to extend.
You had a great stop out of the half. I felt like we could really swing the momentum. Again, get a great drive. This was our first drive here. I mean, there's 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, and it's the first drive of the 3rd quarter for us. And there's 5 minutes to go in the quarter, and I think we had like a 3rd and 5 here, and maybe have a miscommunication, not the best play call there by myself, and end up in a 4th and somewhat long. Again, thought like a 3-possession game here would be really valuable, particularly going with the flow. Tried the field goal, just missed it. Just missed the field goal. And then from there, our defense gets another big stop. And then according to Pikeville ends up punching in there, somewhat early in the 4th. And then the next 2 drives, we can't convert 3rd downs. Have a couple 3rd manageables. That right there was 3rd and 3, or 4th and 3, excuse me. Just didn't pick it up, had to punt. Then our next drive was the same way. We couldn't pick up on 3rd and 4th down.
Another thing, though, you punt, but the most important thing is that you did not give them good field position. Jake, very efficient in the kicking game again, averaging right at 40 yards a kick this year, and you had a couple of good punts, one that pinned them very deep again.
Yeah, Jake over 40 yards. The one punt, the second punt coming up, pinned him inside the 5. You just saw a freak play there. Felt like we had a good scheme set up for a play they really like to run and really run really efficient as opposed to play for number 0. Our guy tips it, their guy tips it. It falls in our guy's hands. Actually Rousey's hands. Looks like he's going to, I don't know if he's going to score, but he's in the open field by himself. Now if he gets caught, who knows. And it kind of ricochets off his pads and falls in the hands of a lineman for them. And then what we feel like is potential 6 points for us ends up being 15 yards the other way. And just one of those plays that was just a really odd play that you have to find a way to play through. And again, that was a learning lesson for our guys. Our guys played through those mistakes. You see here a big sack under 4 minutes to go. They end up like a 4th and 9 or something like this, and they punt to us. They have 3 timeouts, and they're going to use their timeouts and try to get the ball back or maybe come after our punt. And this was our 3rd drive in a row where we had a 3rd down, and we converted this one.
Yeah.
And so that this really sealed the game. You see our guys celebrating there. They knew at that point it kind of sealed the game.
Yeah, they were out of timeouts, and you knew at that point you can go in your favorite formation, victory formation.
Yeah, we put Stiltner in motion there, trying to draw some eyes to him, and Shannon got behind the shoulder pads. Looked like he got hit right at the 1st down marker and kind of fell forward. And that's what seniors do. Again, you got to make big-time plays, and he made a big play there, and we were able to, like you say, get in our favorite formation 3 times in a row.
We've seen what Landon has done all year long, and he has been prolific. And take nothing away from what Shannon has done, but these last couple of games, he is certainly playing his best football the entire season on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, Shannon's been spectacular, you know, in the Paris game, the regional finals, and the semifinals game. Probably 200 yards on the ground between the two games, and obviously another 100 or so in the air. And, it goes, people unnoticed. He also plays every snap of defense. On Friday he'll line up right there at outside linebacker for us, play defensive end, whatever you want to call it. And, just really a team guy, man. Urgency for him is here. He knows the orange and black runs deep in his roots. It was in the paper last week, I think, an article, and it's all his family knows. And it's important to him, and he knows he's got one more shot to put it on and to change the outcome for his brother. Then his brother left, and so that's really what it's about to him. He's really a loyal guy, really a community guy. His family's been at Raceland since, that's all they know. And so I think you see him playing his best football because he has that type of urgency. And Shannon's a super talented kid, and the biggest thing probably about Shannon is he's getting what he earned. Those lights only show what you put in, and the work he's put in. Going back, not in the last year, last December, last January, last February, all the way through the spring, all the way through the summer to get himself to this shape, this position, has been special. And so, just as a coach, when you see a guy put that type of work in to get some rewards, that's really fulfilling.
You got to give a hat tip to your defensive line, especially the last couple of weeks, the way they've played. But Chris Spradlin there at your nose tackle, your two outside ends with Alex Headley and Bryson Toole, they've just been anchors. And again, a three-man front, a lot of times those guys are just getting double-teamed and pushed around. But it seems like these last 2 weeks, it's been calling those three names that we've been talking about getting after the quarterback.
Yeah, those guys have been spectacular. The first thing I would say, I think sometimes players take on a persona of their coach. They're they kind of have co-coaches between Coach Kratz and Coach Lewis. And I think, Coach Lewis is extremely, extremely detailed. And therefore they are too. They have no choice. If they weren't detailed, he wouldn't play them. He's very intense, very methodical in his approach, studies, and he transfers that to them. On Friday, Coach Lewis will wrap up his 53rd year coaching high school football. I'm not big on making bets or anything like that. That's a safe bet that, not a lot of people are going to match that. Yep. That's number one. Number two, you talk about Coach Lewis and his career. He's going to coach in like his 15th, something like this, high school football state final. Throw in another baseball or two state finals. Just an unbelievable career for him. And those guys respect that. And that's the first thing I would say. Second of all, that group has a toughness and a tenacity about them that maybe in today's society is not normal. Chris in the middle. Not a lot of people know everybody's story, and not my story to tell. But those guys have less than ideal upbringings. That's safe to say. But all those guys know is Raceland football, and it means the world to them. When David got hurt in week 3 at Pikeville, and he missed 3 or 4 weeks, man, you thought to him the world was ending. He was devastated. He just couldn't understand why he couldn't play. He didn't know. His arm wasn't falling off, so why can't I play? That's just kind of how these guys think. And then you got Toole. Toole's returning starter for us, but he was on offense a year ago. Toole is just a tenacious player. We always try to tell him, a little less mustard on the play. He's always wanting to top it off a little bit. He plays with that edge, and for a lot of reasons, that's why we felt like defense was his best fit. The biggest, those guys just play so daggone hard, and you're right. They get knocked down, double teamed, they'll get triple teamed Friday. They'll fall down, they'll get pancaked, they'll get up and make a tackle. And I would think, the tenacity of that group is probably the one word I was using to describe them. And what happens is that becomes infectious. Those other guys in the front that can see more and maybe run better and, quite honestly, maybe more talented than those guys, but they see what those guys go through, and they're like, wait a minute, if these guys can do it, well, certainly we can. And then that becomes infectious among your whole defense. And then I think that's why you see the results we've been getting.
All right, we're going to step out for a break. We come back, we're going to preview the upcoming matchup this Friday, high noon, down in Kroger Field against the KCD Bearcats. It's a familiar opponent, just never played in this round. And they've only played one other time outside these past two. That went all the way back to 1980. And the Rams have won all of those meetings. Can they make it 4 in a row? We'll take a break. We come back. We'll continue our coverage. This is Inside Raceland Football from Raceland Christian Church on Kool TV.
Good morning, Isabella.
Hi, David.
Back for your morning routine?
Clark's Refresh Rewards program is something you'll flip for.
Hey, Isabella.
Hi, Annabelle.
Donut?
Don't forget the sprinkles. Cream and sugar.
Download our app today and enjoy all of the rewards. No flipping required.
Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
At First National Bank, we strive to make every person that walks through our doors feel like family. Because to us, you are. For over 120 years, we have lived in and served the families of Kentucky with genuine care through the good times and the bad. Come and see the difference banking with family can truly make for you at any of our 7 locations or visit our website at www.fnbgrayson.com. First National Bank, member FDIC.
Fall fishing season is just around the corner, and Border Sporting Goods is your fishing headquarters for rods and reels from G. Loomis, St. Croix, Fenwick, Lewes, Shimano, Daiwa, and Abu Garcia. No matter the species of fish you are targeting, Borders has the perfect setup to make your next trip on the water a success. Borders has baits in every size and style, with a wide selection of tackle from Berkeley, Strike King, Soon, Z-Man, Bandit, and many more. Before hitting the water for your next fishing trip, stop by and stock up at Border Sporting Goods, US 60 West in Ashland.
Since 1992, DSI has been serving their customers with quality products and affordable prices for 33 years. DSI offers a wide variety of gear for your favorite team and also offers wholesale and retail screen printing, embroidery, vinyl, and direct-to-film applications. DSI also welcomes your custom design for your team, business, or anything you may need. Have a vision? Let DSI's custom design team make that vision a reality. For over 30 years, DSI has been the trusted name for quality products at an affordable price. Check them out at 511 Greenup Avenue in Raceland or online at supertees.com.
At Members Choice Credit Union, we believe that strong communities begin with strong partnerships, and that starts with trust. Since 1932, we've proudly served the families and businesses of this region because your goals matter, your family matters, and your future should be built on a foundation you can count on and trust. Members Choice Credit Union, your money, your future, your choice.
Primary Plus is celebrating 40 years of its mission of quality, advanced, affordable health care. With over 11 primary care locations throughout the region, Primary Plus believes in our communities and our patients. The Primary Plus name means primary care plus so much more, offering extended services such as women's health, pediatrics, dental, counseling, diabetes management, infusion services, and on-site pharmacy that offers free delivery. Primary Plus believes in connecting health care for you and your family and is always welcoming new patients. Learn more at primaryplus.net.
I'm April Perry, the CEO of Kentucky Farmers Bank. On average, our employees have been with Kentucky Farmers Bank for over 10 years, and that is important to you and us. We want you to know who you are dealing with. Whether you are financing a new home, buying a car, or remodeling your kitchen, Kentucky Farmers Bank is the better bank for all your needs.
Kentucky Farmers Bank, the better bank for all your financial needs since 1931. Located in Ashland, Summit, and Catlettsburg. KentuckyFarmersBank.com. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Looking for the latest archery gear? Check out Border Sporting Goods for your best selection of Hoyt and Matthews bows, as well as 10-point crossbows with a full selection of accessories for all your hunting needs. Borders also offers a full selection of shotguns and rifles with plenty of ammunition and reload supplies, along with a full selection of benchmark and case knives. Borders is your headquarters for the largest selection of Liberty gun safes in the area, no matter how big or small you need to keep your firearms safe. Before your next hunting excursion, stop by and stock up at Border Sporting Goods, US 60 West in Ashland. When you are hungry and on the go, stop by the Rams Dairy Bar for your next meal. Rams Dairy Bar offers mouth-watering cheeseburgers and hot dogs made any way you like them, with plenty of sides to choose from. Don't forget to grab an ice cream cone to go or a hand-dipped milkshake with a variety of flavors. Rams Dairy Bar also offers a full selection of flavored coffees to get your day moving in the right direction. The next time you're hungry and don't know where to go, swing by the Rams Dairy Bar, proud supporters of Raceland Athletics for over 25 years.
And we're back here on Inside Raceland Football from Raceland Christian Church. Again, a big thanks to Jason Likens and his entire crew here tonight. They put together this community dinner. As we were kidding here, said we thought we were going to have a big crowd here tonight. We set up, we were going to do questions with them. Everybody left. I said, was it something we said? I don't know, man. Everybody left and went home.
Yeah, we've never done this show before live audience. You know, I see some of these people, they go to, B-Dubs or I guess we could go to Ram Bar or something.
Yeah, we go Rams Dairy Bar.
Yeah, something like that, and we had a whole room full, and I didn't know how they would leave, but it started the show. They left quick.
Yeah, it was maybe they're just trying to get home to watch it.
Yeah, maybe, or home to get packed for Lexington, or maybe it's something we said or didn't say.
Yes, for sure. Hey, don't forget, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, right here on Kool TV, we'll have our final football playoff show. Jacob Hankins, Spencer Hutchinson, and myself will break everything down in the 6 classifications. I've also got an interview in there with Coach Matt Jones from KCD. He and I, we sat down and talked on Tuesday. And Coach, I've got to give him a shout out because he's probably watching the show tonight. We kidded. He said, I've been watching your show he said, you guys do a great job, but very complimentary of the program, very complimentary of you. And likewise, I can't say enough great things about Coach Jones' program. Yeah,
Coach Jones is a first-class guy. They do a really good job there. And obviously the battles he faces are a little different than the battles we face. And he recognizes that. I think he has made one trip to Raceland. And it might have been over, I want to say maybe over COVID year, but I can't swear to it. Of course, they haven't played here, but he came down for a game, and he got him a burger and a milkshake down there at the Corner Cone. He always gives me a hard time about that. And he texts me throughout the year and said, hey, I watched your show, great show, or whatever. And so there's a ton of mutual respect there. Again, I think programs that try to do the things right, both programs try to do the right thing, and not that they're right in everybody's eyes, but they're right by the people who are making the decisions. And their kids they play hard. They got really good football players, and you can tell they work at it. And anytime you see people that work at it and being able to grow the program, that garners respect. And that's kind of, I think, how our mutual respect began. And for the most part, across Class A, there's only 30 of us, 32 of us, I guess, should be, with some people dropping out. There is a mutual respect because in a lot of ways we have a lot in common. Some of the 6A schools and the 1A schools don't have a lot in common. The similarities are stop after having 11 guys on the field on offense or defense. There's just not a lot of things that go hand in hand. But when other guys face the same type of battles you face, you can really try to learn from them. And I think that's kind of what brought this together. And Coach Jones has been very respectful to me in our program, and obviously we feel the same about him. And we've been up there 2 years in a row, and they've been very, very first class to us, and really excited for him and his program, and we'll be honored to compete against him on Friday.
2 years ago when we went down the first time, I reached out and did interviews with him and communicated. He sent me information about the team and everything, and then last year I sent him a message, and he said, well, if I'm hearing from you, it must be a pretty good season. So I sent him a message. I sent him a message for a couple of days ago, and I was like, "Hey, can we do an interview?" And he goes, "If I'm hearing you from you now," he goes, "it must be a really good season." He said, "But we got to talk about those turkeys you had on for Thanksgiving." He goes, "We're usually talking on Black Friday, but this is a different venue." And they were last there in 2020. They played Paintsville. They lost in that game, and he said, one of the things he said, the coaches, they know what to expect when they get there. So they took notes and kind of what he goes, but none of the players have been there, unlike where you guys, this is your 4th consecutive season.
Yeah, so we have a very, very familiar with the process, and it is a little different. Just to be transparent, it's a little different. 2020, it's kind of funny you say that. We actually got beat by Paintsville that year in overtime. At home. We also beat Paintsville that year.
On a ball that I still don't say cross the goal line, but either way.
We actually beat Paintsville that year too, and that's one thing that our program went through. There was 2 or 3 years in a row where we weren't the state champ, of course, but we beat the state champ in the regular season. And so, you knew we were climbing, we just weren't there yet. And so, that's just part of it. And, our kids have been able to try to put that behind them and move forward, and really excited for Friday afternoon.
The really interesting thing about this past week in Class A in the semifinals, the 2 teams that won lost to that same team in the regular season, and it was both of their only losses.
Yeah.
So KCD lost to Campbellsville 27-17 in that last district matchup for them. They win last week 31-13, and then you guys avenged that week 3 loss to Pikeville down in the mountains. But when you look at the similarities with these 2 teams, Jacob, let's have the stats here when we throw these up on the screen. You look at the stats here, very comparable what these 2 teams do. It's no secret they are going to line up and try to run the football. And your secret on the defensive side, you're going to stop the run, and that's what you guys have done all year long.
Yeah, one thing to add before we talk about the stats is both of our teams, lost on the road. And it's funny way with RPI, we both got those games at home the second time around. I'm not sure that's the way it should be, but that's the way it worked out. So we'll take it. But yeah, they're going to line up and run the football at you. And again, if you're going to survive in November now into December, you got to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to stop the run. Our run numbers there are almost identical. We've thrown the ball maybe a few more times than they did. They're not going to throw it unless they have to, or unless you put them in some third or some uncomfortable situations, or unless they get some sudden change and try to take a shot. Like the other night, they had a real nice trick play, I guess you would call it. But they're really going to try to grind the clock. They're going to try to limit the possessions, just like last week. There was only 6 possessions in the game with Pikeville. They're running the play clock down. We're running the play clock down. Make sure we got the right play in, or if we need to change the play. These games aren't played as nearly wide open as maybe a week 3 game or a week 4 game or a week 1 game when at that point when the heat's out there, you're just trying to survive. These games here are really played a lot closer to the vest, and so it'll come down to who can stop the run and who can run the ball, and in the process who can value the ball. That team will have the best chance to be state champs on Friday.
You look at the 2 guys that make them go offensively. 2 guys that you guys have faced now for will be the 3rd year. Yeah. It starts with Parker Rudolph. He's over 1,000 yards. Tyler Wilson, more the wing back. He's almost to 1,000 yards. And then the quarterback, Caden Long. He does the things that they need to do to go. 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, thrown for under just over 800 yards on the season. And it's kind of one of those things. He throws the ball when he has to, but their bread and butter is to put it in one of those 2 guys in that backfield and let them go do the work.
Yeah, so they're gonna lull you to sleep with Rudolph. He's their workhorse. He runs hard.
He's doubled the carries by almost 2.5 on the ones that Wilson have had this year.
That's right, and the rest of the kids, the rest of the guys who touch the ball. He's going to run hard. He runs well. He gets the open field. He'll run away from you. I think he has 16, 18 touchdowns, and he just keeps coming. As we always say, keep pounding. He keeps coming right at you. 23 would be their explosive guy. He would be their home run hitter, if you will, their speed back. He's going to get the ball primarily on the edge, whether it's some type of a counter, some type of a toss, some type of a triple option play where he gets the pitch. And when he gets in space out there, you can see he's got a lot of wiggle. Also, he's a dynamic and outstanding kick returner. I think that goes maybe a little unnoticed. One thing about them and him that's special. And then they got, you talked about the Long kid, the quarterback. Now he's making his, close to 30 starts in the triple option. You said he threw 16 touchdowns. I think about 1 out of 3 of completions are a touchdown for him, something like that.
Yeah, he's only completed 47 passes this year.
Okay, there you go. So 3 16s would be 48. So 1 out of 3 of his past completions are touchdowns. So that tells you their explosiveness. But it goes back to 5 and 23 setting you up, lulling you to sleep. And I spoke about this earlier about defensive guys having bad eyes. You start looking at your wrong key, and next thing you know, your key's by you. Keys are people, and that's what we always talk about. Keys are people, and reads is what your key does. And so if you have bad eyes, you give up big explosive plays, and that's what they feast on.
You talk about Rudolph, the way that he works. 2 years ago, he didn't carry the ball very much for them. Last year, kind of came into that feature role, and now he's that guy. And when you look at what they do offensively, a very unique scheme. They work out of the flex bone. When you look at teams that you faced, especially here late, maybe a little bit of a mixture of what you saw from East Carter with the shotgun tee, and then a little bit from when you see the wishbone out of Nicholas County. You kind of seen those two together and kind of get you a look of something of what you're going to see when you face KCD on Friday?
Yeah, maybe similar. We've scrimmaged Belfry earlier in the year, and so they're not exclusively a flexbone team, but they do some flexbone principles. Obviously, we played KCD the last 2 years. Now, it goes to notice, and again, another credit to Coach Jones. In 24, he installed the flexbone. In 23, when we played there in the semis, they were not a flexbone team. They're more like maybe like us, like a spread team, or maybe like a pro I team. He had a quarterback, I believe, went to Southern Illinois. I'm not sure if he was still there. He was a Division I player. I'm not sure what his whereabouts is now. But then after that game, that off season, I think they did studies and felt like they needed to make some change. They actually went to Harding University, which is
we talked about this Tuesday,
which is kind of like a name that's kind of blowing up right now in the game of small college football, Division II school, and among the high school ranks. And they really they took all their poker chips and put it all in on the flexbone. and that's a gutsy move. You know, I've been here 19 years. I don't know if I could walk in January and change some of the core things that we believe in. That would be tough, but he did it, and so credit to him for that. And they were in the flex bone all year last year and really got familiar with it. And you can see in year 2 they're just better. They're better at their meshes. You know, they got a few more dynamic movements in it. You know, guys are more confident in their tracks, whether it be root off, whether it be the play side tackle or the backside guard on cutoffs or whatever they're doing. You can just tell another year in the system, as you would expect, right? You know, to be more familiar and have more success. And that's really what, you know, their offense, I think I saw today, averaging almost 41 points. I think, you know, that's what you see when they've been able to really kind of.
And again, they did not expect the results that they received from it last year. Now another year into this, you know, an additional 13 games in now as we go to this last game of the regular season. And it's something, like you said, the wrinkles have been ironed out, and now it's starting to move efficiently like they wanted to see.
Yeah, I mean, he talks, you know, depth about he has 19 seniors, a big class. You know, I don't know if we had 19 seniors since I've been here. We have 12 this year.
I think 16 is the biggest class I remember.
Okay, we have 12 this year. It was a great class. Yeah. 19 is a big class for Class A, especially when we talk about a roster of 40 or a roster of 50. You know, you're talking about, you know, 40% of your roster are seniors. That's special. And so those guys have played together a long time and come up together, and essentially they got, for the most part, their entire team back from a year ago. And so just having that, you know, that common language, I would think, that commonality to know, I don't know their verbiage, but, you know, whatever it is, they're talking the same thing now for 29 games. Summer, off-season, preseason, postseason, district, it's all been the same. And so, you know, as we've learned here at Raceland, one of the biggest values we've been able to grow our program off of is our consistency. And that's what you see there after 2 years, and the numbers they're putting up. And I think it's somebody said over 2,000 yards rushing for them or something.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, they've rushed for actually 3,000.
Over 3,000.
Averaging 233.5 a game.
3,000 yards. I misspoke. Yeah. So I had the wrong number there. But you can just see their efficiencies, and that's really what makes defending them a challenge.
You look at what they do defensively, mostly 3-3-5. They've shown some 5-2 a little bit this year, but when you look at a 3-3-5, what stands out to you, and what games do you go back and look at that you've seen that type of alignment that allows you to do what you want to do offensively?
Yeah, well, first of all, they're a unique hybrid defense, and they do play some even front also as well as they're odd. And the thing I would say about them is it appears as if, and you never know till you get on the field, but their team speed is special. It seems like that's maybe their strength. They got a dynamic lineman, number 61, Mandy kid. He played against us last year. They got an outstanding inside linebacker, 51, Bowen kid, and then the number 2 for them is kind of like the dynamic tackler. I mean, I think his name is Rocco.
Huffman.
And he leads them in tackles, and man, does he fly to the ball. And not just him. I shouldn't single him out. They all do, but his on film he's different. And so you just try to find some advantages and maybe some matchups you can take advantage of. You know, it is week 15. You're not going to gash people. You're not going to, you know, run for 27 yards on every snap. Every play is not going to be perfect. You know, but you got to be able to win enough battles to give yourself a chance in the end. That's really what it's about, and try to attack. And you know, obviously Jake's got to value the ball. He's got to be good with the ball. Got to make throws. Got to be on time. They got to get the ball to the playmakers, and they got to make plays once they get it. You know, we got to make sure that Shannon and Stiltner and Arnett and Bloss, if he's mixed in, when he gets mixed in there some, is valuing the ball. You know, they're hitting the holes correctly and getting behind their shoulder pads, and gives us a chance to keep the chains moving, to try to wear on them a little bit. And you know, you just have to see kind of once you get in the game. I think I joked last week, it's not really checkers no more. At this stage, a little bit chess, so you got to kind of get in there and see how people move the pieces.
How much is this game, with the way you guys set up when you take the field Friday, more about you and less about KCD?
Well, so everything we've really focused on this year has always just been our standard, and we, for the most part, have talked about, you know, nameless opponents. Now there is a aspect of football in which you have to prepare for your opponent, because, you know, teams do different things, and you got to put yourself in position as a team to be successful. But at the end of the day, it's really about us doing the things that we can control that correlate to the desired outcome. You know, we got to be able to take care of the football. You know, you got to value the ball. We got to be able to win the run game, and I mean, you know, we got to be able to rush the ball. we got to be able to stop them rushing the ball. We got to make sure that we're good when we're in third down, and we got to make sure that we get off the field when they're in third down. The things that correlate to winning are really what it's about. And you know, they are outstanding in special teams. I think that's one thing about their team that goes unnoticed. I think they got 3 kickers. I mean, it's unbelievable. We got 2, what I would call great high school kickers. These guys they got are different. I'm assuming maybe soccer players. You know, and they have a field goal kicker and they have an extra point kicker. And it's not the same person. One got 60, I think, or something.
Yeah, you've got
extra points.
Ms. Gucci has kicked 61 of 63 extra points, and then Papa 10 out of 11 on field goals. And when I was talking with Coach Jones earlier of turf, he can kick from 50.
Yeah, so that's 100 points. You talk about them averaging, you know, they've scored, 40 a game. That's 100 of them right there. But yeah, just big legs. And number 20, the Papa, if I'm saying that right, he kicks off. And I don't know the percentage of touchbacks. I haven't studied it to get to that much detail, but I want to guess 4 out of 5, maybe 9 out of 10 kicks are in the end zone. And I don't mean like at the goal line. They are through and in deep in the end zone. Of course, in high school football, you can't bring those out. And so that's a big part of the game. And that's something we chart, special teams. Who wins the punt game, punt return game, kickoff return game. I already spoke about the Wilson kid, how electric he is in the open field. And he's also returning all their kicks for them. He also returns their punts. And so, there's a lot to go into a game plan here. And our guys will give us the best chance to be successful on Friday.
All right, well, tomorrow afternoon, team will depart somewhere around 3:45 to 4 o'clock. We'll have live coverage right here on Kool TV with the send-off. We'll talk with Coach. We'll talk with some of the players as they get ready to depart for Lexington and then get ready for that high noon kickoff, which we'll be covering with you live, audio only. The KHSAA won't let us do TV down there. So audio only, but I'll be with you beginning at 11:30 with countdown to kickoff coverage from Kroger Field and then high noon kickoff. One of these 2 teams, Raceland or KCD, is going to get their first ever state championship, and the Rams trying to make it a gold bowl on season number 100. It'd be pretty special to close it off.
Yeah, I don't know if, everybody ever talked about that when this thing began, or almost seems like that's like a fictional story, right? And we just try to stay in the moment of our feet present where we're at, and really try to focus on the things we can't control.
Thanks for watching this episode of Inside Raceland Football. Thanks for watching this episode of Inside Raceland Football on Kool TV. Join us each Wednesday night at 7 for another episode as we break down everything with Raceland Rams football.